If your goal is to run faster, you need a strong ankle complex, and more specifically, you need a powerful Achilles tendon. So in this video, I'm going to give you 2 exercises to turn your Achilles tendon in an elastic and force-producing machine. When it comes to improving force production that transfers well into the sport, we need to be able to improve max strength without adding compressive forces to the spine or to the overall body. And the first thing people are going to think of is just loading up 1 rep max heavy lifts like calf raises, barbell squats, or deadlifts. But there's a few big issues with this style. Number 1, the contraction velocity is going to be very slow, which means the time it takes you on the concentric to do the entire lift is going to be so slow that it might hurt your sprint speed and explosiveness in terms of transfer. The second reason is you're effectively making your spine and your body a pancake. Any type of 1 rep max lifting is giving your body a ton of compressive forces, but sprinting and jumping is the opposite of compression. It is elastic. Third is your tendons will adapt to heavy lifting and become stiffer, but you have to ask the question if those tendons getting stiffer is the type of adaptation you want for your athleticism. You definitely want stiff tendons to a certain extent, but there comes a point when you get such stiff tendons that they're not going to transfer to more sprinting and vertical jump gains, because sprinting requires the tendon to be compliant. So when you're trying to sprint, the tendon is going to store and release elastic energy, which means it has to stretch. It cannot be completely stiff and rigid, or eventually you're going to lead into stuff like Achilles tears or Achilles strains because it's too stiff. You'll see some of the top coaches on social media promoting deep squats and power cleans, or even really heavy barbell calf raises, and then you'll see them do jumping and sprinting, and for some reason they look really stiff. It's because the tendons are very stiff, and yeah, they might be getting the adaptation that you get when you do deep squats, but then you look stiff. You look kind of unathletic. Even if you're jumping high or sprinting fast, that does not mean that's the right way to go long term for everyone. So to train the ability of max propulsion without adding load to the spine or adding unnecessary adaptations to the tendons, we're going to do something called an overcoming isometric. So the first step for a split stance overcoming isometric is we're going to find a wall that's immovable and we're going to try to push into it as hard as possible. To start that, we need to get in a sprinter stance that's as deep as humanly possible, almost like you're pushing someone as a lineman, or you're getting into a block start and you're looking at those angles that you're going to hit when you're in the set position. Then once we have a stable wall and we're in the set position, we're going to in the split stance and push as hard as possible for 5 to 8 seconds. Try to move the wall or move the barbell or move the power rack as hard as humanly possible, as if you could. Then once you do 5 to 8 seconds on one leg, you're going to swap and push on the back leg specifically for the recommended reps and sets. And if you want to run faster, you want all the exercises, reps, sets, and programming done for you, click the link below to join the Speed Academy to finally transform your sprint speed. For the second exercise, we're going to train the calf, but specifically the posterior tibialis. The tibialis posterior calf raise will be great for developing your weak final push and the rear foot alignment when sprinting. Some of the best sprint coaches in the world believe that the ability to perform an optimal push-off in your high gear position is based on the posterior tibialis. And the faster you can lock and access the rear foot, the more power you can create in the foot at fast speeds. So in basic terms, it's not only going to improve pure calf strength, but it's also going to improve stiffness on initial ground contact and improve that final push when jumping and sprinting. So basically, if you feel very strong but not athletic, maybe you lack the ability to push off in triple extension, this type of shit is going to help you. People are going to try to train this with something they like to call faster training with stuff like towel curls, but I don't believe this is the best way to improve your final push or even your fascia. So instead of giving you a step-by-step on how to do this exercise, I'm actually going to give you a spectrum of where to progress this exercise, because it's not just doing the posterior calf raise. There's actually a couple exercises that you can do to get the most gains possible. The first one is going to be a deep tier. So this is pretty much a parallel squat, posterior tibialis hop. So you're just going to squeeze a ball with your heels, maintain that stiffness, and then hop in that bottom position, and it's going to be very light intensity. That's going to be the first exercise on the very left side of the spectrum. In the second portion of the spectrum, we're going to do extensive pogos, but with closing the heels. You could do this for 2 to 3 sets of 30 seconds every single day of your life. It's so extensive and low intensity that's really not going to do anything to your tendons long term in terms of damage. But you want to maintain the contact with the ball, usually a tennis ball or even a volleyball will work, with your heels. So squeeze as much as possible with the heels and then do those pogos for extensive. Your third one is going to be sub-maximal pogos, or you can even go all the way up to maximal pogos while maintaining the heels. You're going to try to jump as high as possible, around 70 to 80% of your max jump height, purely from the ankle, just popping off like a regular pogo, but you're trying to maintain the contact with your heel and squeeze the ball as much as possible while doing these pogos. Yes, your toes are going to point outwards. That's perfectly fine. The fourth one is a regular calf raise variation, but you actually have the heel connected with the ball while doing the calf raise. You're gonna squeeze the ball and then do a regular barbell calf raise, you know, extend all the way to the top, make sure the eccentric is slow, basic stuff for a calf raise, but you wanna load this up while maintaining the heel with the ball. You probably are gonna have to pick up the barbell, walk out first, and then squeeze the ball. It's gonna be really hard to squeeze the ball and then walk out while maintaining the pressure with the ball and your heel. If you want reps and sets, I'm gonna put it above right here, but none of these exercises matter if you don't know how to put it within a full workout. So watch this video right here to get a full speed workout to understand what real good programming looks like for athletes who wanna sprint faster.